Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're focusing on two of the most spectacular travel destinations on Earth, Australia and New Zealand. Over the next hour, we'll walk through the vibrant cities, breathtaking natural wonders, unique wildlife, and rich cultural experiences that make this part of the world so special. And I'll show you exactly how Indus Travels makes planning a trip like this completely effortless. Let's get started. Before we dive in, a quick bit of housekeeping. Today's agenda covers Australia's must-see highlights, New Zealand's unforgettable landscapes, flights, accommodations, and transportation, our featured tour packages, and current offers and booking opportunities. A few things before we begin. You can use the chat feature anytime throughout the presentation to ask questions. We'll answer as many as possible at the end during our Q&A session. And this webinar is being recorded, so if you need to step away or want to revisit anything later, you'll be able to. Here's your roadmap for the next hour. 7 stops on today's agenda. We'll start with why Australia and New Zealand belong on every traveler's bucket list. Then we'll move through Australia's icons, its iconic cities and breathtaking natural wonders, followed by New Zealand's scenery, with its stunning landscapes and adventure destinations. After that, getting there, meaning flights, connections, and in-country travel, accommodations, so you know what to expect throughout your journey. Our featured Indus tours with curated itineraries for every travel style. And finally, some special offers exclusively for webinar attendees. So, why these two countries? And why now? These destinations really are two incredible countries in one unforgettable journey. Between them, they offer world-famous natural wonders found nowhere else on Earth. They're safe, English-speaking countries that are easy to explore, with a perfect blend of cities, wildlife, beaches, mountains, wine regions, and cultural treasures. Add in excellent weather during North America's winter months, and ever-improving air connections. And this journey is more accessible than most travelers realize. It's no surprise that Australia and New Zealand consistently rank among the world's most desired bucket list destinations. And for very good reason, as we're about to see. Let's start with Australia. It's the world's 6th largest country, spanning an entire continent and home to more than 26 million people across 8 states and territories. To put its scale in perspective, Australia is roughly the same size as the continental United States, and Sydney to Perth, on opposite coasts, is a longer flight than New York to London. Its landscapes are astonishingly diverse. Tropical rainforests, ancient deserts, world-class beaches, and cosmopolitan cities, all within the same country. Every region really does offer a completely different experience. Our most popular regions are Sydney and Melbourne in the southeast, Cairns and tropical North Queensland up in the tropical north, Brisbane and the Gold Coast in between, Uluru out in the central desert, and Tasmania, the island state to the south. One practical note, driving between Australian cities can take many hours. Sydney to Melbourne alone is around 880 kilometers by road. So domestic flights are the most efficient way to travel between regions. And that's something we build directly into every itinerary. Sydney sits on Australia's east coast in the state of New South Wales, and it's Australia's most recognizable city, an essential starting point for most first-time visitors. Its dramatic harbor setting, world-class landmarks, and vibrant neighborhoods create an unforgettable first impression of the country. City highlights include the Sydney Opera House, one of the world's most iconic architectural landmarks, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, right alongside it, with optional bridge climbs for panoramic views, Bondi Beach, just a short drive from downtown, and Australia's most celebrated stretch of sand, Darling Harbour's waterfront dining and entertainment precinct, and the historic Rocks District, right on the harbour, where modern Sydney began. It's the perfect introduction to Australia, a beautiful, world-famous harbor setting, excellent food, shopping, and sightseeing, and an ideal blend of city life and outdoor experiences. Sydney also makes a wonderful base for excursions that reveal the diversity surrounding Australia's largest city. And a stay of 3 nights gives travelers enough time to enjoy both the city's highlights and these nearby attractions. Blue Mountains National Park, home to dramatic escarpments and the famous Three Sisters Rock Formation, sits about 90 minutes, roughly 100 kilometers, west of the city, making it an easy half-day or full-day trip. A Sydney Harbour cruise is one of the best ways to appreciate the city's scale, taking in that stunning skyline from the water. And Taronga Zoo, just across the harbour from the CBD by ferry, offers native wildlife encounters with the harbour as a backdrop, followed by local markets and coastal walks. Melbourne is Australia's second-largest city, located in the southeastern state of Victoria, about a 90-minute flight, or roughly 880 kilometers by road, from Sydney. It's celebrated for its creativity, its art scene, and its exceptional cafe lifestyle. A city that rewards exploration, where every laneway reveals something new. On the arts and culture side, there are colorful laneways, street art, Federation Square, and year-round festivals and live events. For food and coffee, Melbourne is known for Australia's legendary coffee culture, Queen Victoria Market, and an extraordinary dining scene. And the overall lifestyle here is relaxed and walkable, complete with those iconic trams, sporting events, and a genuinely vibrant neighborhood feel. Melbourne's location makes it the gateway to some of Australia's most spectacular scenery, all within easy reach for a memorable day excursion. The Great Ocean Road begins about an hour southwest of the city and stretches along the coast, with the dramatic 12 Apostles limestone formations roughly 3 hours from Melbourne by car. One of the world's most scenic coastal drives, the Yarra Valley, Victoria's premier wine region, is only about an hour northeast of the city. Boutique wineries, cellar door tastings, and gourmet food experiences among rolling green hills. And Phillip Island, about 2 hours southeast of Melbourne, is where visitors can witness the world-famous penguin parade, as hundreds of little penguins waddle ashore at dusk, a truly magical wildlife moment. Cairns sits in far north Queensland, roughly 1,700 kilometers north of Brisbane as the crow flies, about a 2.5-hour flight, which is why most travelers fly in rather than drive. It's the gateway to 2 UNESCO World Heritage treasures, the Great Barrier Reef, just offshore, and the Wet Tropics Rainforest, one of the oldest rainforests on Earth right on the city's doorstep. It's a destination that combines reef, rainforest, adventure, and relaxation in a single unforgettable package. Highlights include snorkeling and diving among the world's most extraordinary coral ecosystem on the Great Barrier Reef, the Kuranda Scenic Railway, journeying up into the rainforest just north of Cairns, the Skyrail Cableway, gliding above that same rainforest canopy for breathtaking aerial views, and cultural experiences that let you engage with Aboriginal culture and encounter tropical wildlife unique to the region. The Great Barrier Reef runs parallel to the Queensland coastline for over 2,300 kilometers, from just south of Cairns all the way north toward Papua New Guinea, and it's large enough to be visible from space. As a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it's home to thousands of marine species and remains one of Australia's most iconic attractions. Full-day reef cruises depart directly from Cairns, typically reaching the outer reef pontoons in about 90 minutes by boat, with snorkeling and scuba diving for all experience levels, plus semi-submersible and glass-bottom boats for anyone who'd rather stay dry. Either way, you're surrounded by vibrant coral gardens, tropical fish, sea turtles, and more. It's widely considered a truly once-in-a-lifetime experience, and one that shouldn't be missed. Brisbane, Queensland's state capital, sits on the coast about 3 hours' drive south of Cairns latitude and roughly 900 kilometers north of Sydney by air, around a 90-minute flight. It offers a relaxed riverside lifestyle with a warm climate, modern culture, and outstanding access to Queensland's famous coastline. City highlights include Southbank Parklands, with restaurants, gardens, and riverside walks, a vibrant arts and cultural precinct, world-class theme parks like Movie World, SeaWorld, and Dreamworld, all clustered about an hour south on the Gold Coast, and easy access to the Gold Coast's famous beaches, which sit roughly 78 kilometers, about an hour's drive, from the city. It's a destination that continues to grow in popularity thanks to its excellent year-round climate, relaxed modern feel, and increasing international flight connectivity. For an optional extension, Uluru and the Red Centre sit almost dead center in the continent, in the southern part of the Northern Territory, a landscape of ancient sacred beauty that leaves a profound impression on nearly everyone who visits. The nearest town, Alice Springs, is about 450 kilometers away, roughly a 5-hour drive, which is why most travelers instead fly directly into Uluru's own airport at Ayers Rock, with direct connections from Sydney, Melbourne, and Cairns. Uluru, also known as Ayers Rock, is far more than a landmark. It's a living cultural site of deep significance to the Anangu people. Highlights include Uluru's unforgettable sunrise and sunset color transformations, guided walks through Karachuta, also known as the Olgas, just nearby, Aboriginal cultural experiences and traditional stories, and stargazing beneath some of the world's clearest skies. This extension is best suited to bucket list travelers, nature and cultural explorers, and repeat visitors looking to discover another side of Australia. Tasmania is Australia's island state, sitting across the Bass Strait roughly 240 kilometers south of Melbourne. About a 1-hour flight, or for those who love a scenic sea crossing, an overnight ferry of around 9 to 11 hours from Geelong, near Melbourne, to Devonport on Tasmania's north coast. It offers something entirely unique: spectacular wilderness, a thriving art scene, exceptional gourmet food, and wildlife encounters that feel genuinely remote. In Hobart, the capital, there's a charming waterfront, historic Salamanca Place, and Mona, one of Australia's most daring and inventive museums. For wild landscapes, there's Cradle Mountain National Park in the island's north-central highlands, with pristine hiking trails and untouched wilderness. And Gourmet Tasmania delivers exceptional local produce, fresh seafood, award-winning wines, and renowned Tasmanian single malt whiskies. Australia is home to wildlife found nowhere else on Earth. In fact, over 80% of the continent's mammals are entirely unique to the country. Many Indus tours include visits to wildlife parks and conservation centers, where travelers can safely observe these extraordinary animals up close. Think koalas and kangaroos, Australia's most beloved icons, wombats and wallabies, charming marsupials that delight visitors of all ages, colorful bird life from rainbow lorikeets to cockatoos, and marine life, dolphins, whales, sea turtles, and thousands of reef fish in Australia's remarkable ocean environments. Now let's look at our first specific Australia itinerary. Highlights of Australia, a 12-day tour. This journey takes travelers through Melbourne, Cairns, and Sydney, 3 cities that sit at very different points on the continent, roughly 1,700 to 2,400 kilometers apart, which is exactly why the domestic flights between them are built into the tour, with a knowledgeable English-speaking guide, comfortable accommodation, and every piece of logistics handled from start to finish. Days 1 through 4 are spent in Melbourne, in the country's southeast, exploring the laneways, arts, and cafe culture, visiting the iconic Fitzroy Gardens and Captain Cook's Cottage, and taking in world-class galleries and restaurants. Days 5 through 8 fly north to tropical Cairns, the gateway to the Great Barrier Reef, with optional excursions to Fitzroy Island or the Crater Lakes at Lake Barine, plus a ride on the scenic Kuranda Railway through tropical North Queensland. And days 9 through 12 finish in Sydney on the east coast, discovering the Opera House, Harbour Bridge, and the golden sands of Bondi Beach, with a guided harbour cruise before departure. This tour includes 9 nights in quality hotels with daily breakfast, international airfare, and domestic flights between cities, air-conditioned coach and airport transfers throughout, all-included attractions and entrance fees, and an expert English-speaking guide for the full journey. Our second Australia itinerary is Amazing Australia, a 13-day tour that goes further afield, from the east coast up to the tropical north, out to the desert center, and back down to the southeast. It takes you from Sydney's iconic harbour to the wilds of Darwin and Kakadu, the sacred red centre of Uluru, and the stunning landscapes of Melbourne and the Great Ocean Road, with all logistics handled and an English-speaking guide included throughout. Days 1 through 4 are in Sydney, with the Opera House, Taronga Zoo, and an optional Blue Mountains day trip. Days 5 through 7 fly roughly 3,000 kilometers northwest to Darwin and Kakadu, in Australia's tropical top end, exploring Kakadu National Park, the Yellow Water Billabong, and Crocosaurus Cove. Days 8 and 9 bring you to Uluru, out in the central desert, for the Field of Light, sunrise at the sacred red center, and the Mutichalu waterhole. And days 10 through 13 close out in Melbourne, back in the southeast, with a city tour, the Great Ocean Road, and a Phillip Island wildlife experience. This tour includes 10 nights in quality hotels with daily breakfast, plus 1 special included lunch, international airfare, and domestic flights between cities, air-conditioned coach and airport transfers throughout, all attractions and entrance fees, and an expert English-speaking guide for the full journey. And for travelers with more time, here's a suggested framework for the ultimate Australia bucket list journey, covering iconic cities, natural wonders, and once-in-a-lifetime cultural and wilderness experiences right across the continent. It typically combines Sydney, the harbour city, with its icons, beaches, and the Blue Mountains, Melbourne, a short flight south for culture, food, and the scenic Great Ocean Road, Cairns, up in the tropical north, for the Great Barrier Reef in tropical North Queensland, Uluru, out in the red centre, for the spiritual heart of the country and Aboriginal cultural experience, and either Brisbane or Tasmania to round things out, adding Queensland's coast or Australia's wild southern island. The takeaway here is that Australia offers incredible flexibility. Whether you're traveling for 1 week or 3, every itinerary delivers extraordinary experiences. Now let's cross the Tasman Sea to New Zealand, about a 3 to 4 hour flight from Australia's east coast. New Zealand may be smaller than Australia, but it packs an astonishing variety of landscapes and experiences into 2 distinct islands, each with its own character and appeal. The North Island offers vibrant cities and cosmopolitan culture, rich Maori heritage and traditions, geothermal wonders and volcanic landscapes, and rolling farmland with acclaimed vineyards. The South Island, connected to the north by a roughly 3-hour ferry crossing of the Cook Strait, brings towering southern Alps and mountain scenery, world-famous fjords and glaciers, pristine lakes and crystal-clear rivers, and it's widely regarded as the adventure capital of the world. Auckland sits at the top of the North Island and is New Zealand's largest city, and the gateway for most international arrivals. Built on a volcanic field and surrounded by 2 harbors, it blends urban sophistication with stunning natural scenery. The Sky Tower is an iconic landmark offering panoramic views across the city and beyond. Viaduct Harbour is a lively waterfront precinct with excellent restaurants and a real sailing culture. There's easy ferry access, about 40 minutes, to nearby Waiheke Island, famous for its vineyards and beaches, and a genuinely diverse food scene reflecting Pacific, Asian, and Maori cultures. From Auckland, most itineraries head about 230 kilometers south, roughly a 3-hour drive, to Rotorua, which offers one of New Zealand's most unique and unmissable experiences. A landscape of bubbling mud pools, erupting geysers, and a living Maori culture that has called this extraordinary place home for centuries. On the natural wonders side, there are bubbling mud pools and steaming geothermal parks, the Pohutu Geyser, New Zealand's most active geyser, redwoods forest walking and mountain biking trails, and scenic volcanic lakes for outdoor adventures. Culturally, there are authentic Maori village visits and cultural performances, a traditional hanga feast cooked in the earth, and indigenous storytelling, music, and dance, experiences found nowhere else in New Zealand. Wellington sits at the very southern tip of the North Island, right on the Cook Strait, the gateway point for ferries crossing to the South Island. It's compact, walkable, and brimming with personality, punching well above its weight as New Zealand's vibrant capital, a hub of arts, culture, exceptional food, and cinematic history. Te Papa Tongarewa is New Zealand's national museum, with world-class exhibitions on the country's natural and cultural history. The Wellington cable car offers sweeping views over the harbor and pairs nicely with a stroll through the beautiful Botanic Garden. And Weta Workshop takes visitors behind the scenes of the Oscar-winning studio, behind The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies. Christchurch sits on the South Island's east coast, reached either by a short flight or by the Cook Strait ferry from Wellington, followed by a few hours' drive south. It's the gateway to New Zealand's spectacular South Island, a beautifully rejuvenated city that has emerged from its rebuilding journey with a bold, innovative spirit, while still honoring its deep English heritage. The Botanic Gardens in Hagley Park are stunning public green spaces that form the city's beloved natural heart, and Avon River Punting lets visitors glide gently along the tranquil river through lush tree-lined banks. The innovative city center features revitalized architecture and the Riverside Market, with local food and artisan vendors. Christchurch is really the perfect starting point for exploring the Southern Alps, Canterbury Plains, and the spectacular landscapes further south. Queenstown sits about 485 kilometers south of Christchurch, around a 5.5-hour drive, or roughly an hour by air, nestled on the shores of Lake Wakatipu and framed by the dramatic Remarkables mountain range. It's consistently rated one of New Zealand's most spectacular destinations, and one of the world's greatest adventure towns. Iconic experiences include the Skyline Gondola, with breathtaking panoramic views, scenic cruises on the historic TSS Earnslaw steamship, its status as the birthplace of commercial bungee jumping, and award-winning restaurants and vibrant nightlife. For those wanting more, optional activities include jet boating through narrow river canyons, wine tasting in the nearby central Otago region, scenic helicopter flights over glaciers, and hiking, gondola rides, and nature walks. Milford Sound sits about 288 kilometers from Queenstown, roughly a 4-hour drive through Fiordland National Park, usually via the town of Te Anau, and it's often described as the eighth wonder of the world. Carved by ancient glaciers, it rises dramatically from the water in towering dark cliffs, cascading silver waterfalls, and peaks that vanish into low-hanging cloud. Scenic cruises bring visitors face to face with this breathtaking landscape, where seals bask on the rocks and dolphins ride the bow wave. A helpful travel tip: because of that distance, Milford Sound is typically enjoyed as a full-day excursion from Queenstown, with spectacular scenery throughout the entire journey there and back. Located at the very top of the South Island, near the town of Blenheim and just a short drive from the Picton Ferry Terminal, Marlborough is internationally celebrated for producing some of the world's finest Sauvignon Blanc. The region's unique combination of warm days, cool nights, and free-draining soils creates wines of extraordinary character and freshness. Highlights include boutique wineries and cellar door tastings, gourmet local cuisine paired with regional wines, the scenic Marlborough Sounds by boat or kayak, and cycling tours through vineyard-lined country roads. It's the perfect fit for wine enthusiasts and food lovers, couples seeking a relaxed, romantic pace, leisure travelers wanting to slow down and savor the moment, or really anyone craving a contrast to the adventure activities further south. Abel Tasman National Park sits near Nelson, at the northern tip of the South Island, not far from Marlborough, and it offers a completely different side of New Zealand. Gentle golden beaches, crystal clear turquoise waters, and sun-dappled coastal forests. It's the country's smallest national park, but arguably its most beloved, and it's the perfect place to unwind. There are golden beaches, pristine sandy coves, and sheltered bays lapped by some of New Zealand's clearest waters. Sea kayaking through tranquil bays and sea caves, discovering beaches accessible only by water. Coastal trails along sections of the famous Abel Tasman Coast Track, and wildlife encounters with fur seals, native birds, and marine life in their undisturbed natural habitat. New Zealand offers remarkable experiences for every activity level and travel style, from serene wine country drives to heart-pounding glacier hikes. For soft adventure, think scenic cruises, gondola rides, easy nature walks, wildlife viewing, wine tasting, and scenic rail journeys. For moderate adventure, there's hiking, sea kayaking, cycling, jet boating, ziplining, and river experiences. And for high adventure, there's bungee jumping, skydiving, whitewater rafting, glacier hiking, and mountain biking. Whatever pace travelers prefer, New Zealand really does have something extraordinary waiting. Before we get into specific itineraries, I want to highlight something important. Australia and New Zealand offer an incredible diversity of landscapes and experiences, and an equally diverse range of ways to explore them. There's a travel style to suit every pace and preference. Guided group tours give you a structured itinerary with expert local guides. All logistics, from accommodation to activities, are handled, offering a stress-free and social way to discover the highlights. Scenic rail journeys let you experience the landscapes from the comfort of a train, with unique perspectives often not available by road, complete with gourmet dining. Self-drive adventures give you ultimate freedom and flexibility to explore at your own pace, planning your own route, and immersing yourself in local culture and hidden gems along the way. And camper van and motorhome travel combines transportation and accommodation for an intimate connection with nature with maximum spontaneity, waking up to new incredible views every day. Our first specific New Zealand itinerary is the New Zealand Explorer, a classic first-time visit lasting 11 days, tracing a natural line from the North Island down through the South Island, designed for travelers who want to experience the country's full range of landscapes and culture. It begins in Auckland, at the top of the North Island, with city highlights, the harbour, and Waiheke Island. From there, travelers head about 3 hours south to Rotorua for geothermal parks, Maori culture, and the Redwoods Forest, then on to Christchurch on the South Island's east coast for the Garden City, Botanic Gardens, and the Avon River. The journey continues roughly 5 hours south to Queenstown for adventure, wine, and world-famous scenery, with an optional day trip extension to Milford Sound, about 4 hours further, for its iconic fjord and wildlife cruise. For the ultimate New Zealand journey, here's a suggested extended itinerary of 15-plus days, adding remarkable regions at the northern end of the South Island to a comprehensive itinerary for an experience that leaves no stone unturned. Marlborough, near the Picton Ferry Terminal, offers award-winning wine country and the scenic Marlborough Sounds. Abel Tasman, just a short drive west near Nelson, brings golden beaches, sea kayaking, and pristine coastal trails. The glacier region, on the South Island's rugged west coast, includes the Fox and Franz Josef glaciers, with the option to heli-hike on ancient ice. And wine country adds Central Otago vineyards near Queenstown and further gourmet food experiences. New Zealand really is compact enough to experience multiple distinct regions in a single unforgettable journey, no matter how much time is available. For travelers who love the freedom of the open road, we also offer a self-drive adventure from Auckland to Christchurch over 14 days, an unforgettable journey through New Zealand's North and South Islands, combining scenic driving, cultural immersion, and thrilling activities, with a perfect blend of iconic sights and hidden gems. The route includes 2 nights in Auckland, the city of sails, for vibrant urban exploration, 2 nights in Rotorua, about 3 hours south, for Maori culture and geothermal wonders, 1 night in Christchurch, reached by a domestic flight from Rotorua across the Cook Strait, the Garden City, and a transitional hub, 1 night near Mount Cook, roughly 4 hours inland, for iconic alpine scenery and stargazing, 2 nights in Queenstown, about 3 hours further south, the adventure capital, for lake activities, and 1 night at Fox Glacier on the west coast for glaciers and nature walks. The tour includes 11 nights of quality accommodation, daily breakfast, a rental car, a Toyota Yaris on the North Island, and a Toyota Corolla on the South Island, and that domestic flight from Rotorua to Christchurch. Key optional activities include the Hobbiton movie set tour, a Maori cultural dinner and performance, Mount John Observatory stargazing, the Kawarau Bridge bungee jump, and a Milford Sound scenic cruise. Traveling to Australia and New Zealand has never been more convenient. With direct and connecting flights available from major North American gateways, Vancouver, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Dallas, and New York, into arrival cities including Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Auckland. From there, onward connections provide easy access to dozens of destinations throughout both countries. And here's the Indus advantage. We handle your flights and connections, making your journey seamlessly smooth from departure to arrival, while your Indus Travels advisor identifies the best routing from your specific departure city. Let's set realistic expectations on flight times, since Australia and New Zealand involve significant journeys across the Pacific, but every hour in the air is absolutely worth it. From the West Coast, gateways like Los Angeles or San Francisco, to Sydney or Auckland run approximately 14 to 15 hours. From the East Coast, with a connection, it's closer to 17 plus hours. Because these flights cross the international dateline, most travelers arrive 2 calendar days after departure, which can be surprising the first time. But there's no need to worry, you haven't lost a day of your trip. These are typically overnight flights on modern long-haul aircraft, with lie-flat seats in business class, in-seat entertainment, and full meal service. And Indus itineraries always include time to refresh and acclimatize before your first full sightseeing day. Let's get specific about who actually flies this route, because a strong network of international airlines makes this journey more convenient than most people expect. On the North American side, United flies from Los Angeles, San Francisco, Houston, Chicago, and New York to Sydney. Delta operates non-stop from Los Angeles to both Sydney and Auckland. American Airlines flies direct from Los Angeles and Dallas to Sydney. Air Canada connects direct from Vancouver to Sydney and Auckland, with connecting service from Toronto and Montreal, and Hawaiian Airlines offers a wonderful option via a Honolulu stopover, reaching Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Auckland. On the Australia and New Zealand side, Qantas, the national carrier, runs premium service from Los Angeles, San Francisco, Dallas, New York, and Vancouver to Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, while Air New Zealand connects Auckland to Los Angeles, San Francisco, Houston, Vancouver, and New York. And for anyone wanting a bit of extra Pacific charm along the way, it's worth considering a stopover with an airline like Fiji Airways via Nadi. Why choose one country when you can experience both? Flights between Australia and New Zealand are short, frequent, and affordable, making a combined itinerary not just possible, but genuinely the smartest way to maximize a long-haul investment. It's approximately 3 to 4 hours between major cities: Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Auckland, Christchurch, and Queenstown, which means travelers can experience two completely distinct landscapes: Australia's reefs and cities alongside New Zealand's mountains, lakes, and fjords. And Indus Travels arranges all the logistics across both countries in one seamless itinerary, so travelers can enjoy complete peace of mind. International air service to Australia and New Zealand continues to expand, offering travelers from North America greater choice, flexibility, and convenience than ever before. There's increased capacity, more seats in flights from North America, with growing competition improving availability. There's trans-Tasman growth, meaning additional services between Australia and New Zealand that make combining both countries smoother than ever. And there's greater scheduling flexibility, with more departure date options and regional connections within both countries to accommodate diverse travel plans. As always, airline schedules are subject to change, and your Indus Travels advisor will help identify the best available routing for your departure city and preferred travel dates. Once travelers arrive, getting between destinations is effortlessly handled by Indus Travels. Every transfer, flight, and scenic journey is pre-arranged, leaving guests free to simply enjoy the ride. Domestic flights provide quick, comfortable connections between major Australian cities, saving valuable vacation days. Motor coach travel offers comfortable, air-conditioned coaches for scenic regional transfers and guided sightseeing. Scenic Rail includes iconic journeys like the Kuranda Scenic Railway in Queensland and New Zealand's breathtaking Transalpine. And airport transfers mean every arrival and departure is met with a private or group transfer. No waiting, no confusion. Accommodations are thoughtfully selected to provide comfort, convenience, and excellent value, positioned close to major attractions, so travelers spend more time exploring and less time commuting. On quality and standards, expect well-appointed 4-star or superior hotels, depending on the itinerary, with modern amenities and professional service throughout. Properties are chosen for their prime locations, proximity to city centers, major sightseeing attractions, and scenic viewpoints. And on meals and comfort, daily breakfast is included on many tours, with comfortable twin or double occupancy rooms for all travelers. Knowing exactly what's covered lets travelers budget confidently and travel with complete peace of mind. Here's what's included: international airfare on applicable packages, hotel accommodations throughout, all airport transfers, guided sightseeing experiences, transportation during the tour, selected meals as specified, and experienced local guides. What's not included: optional excursions and activities, travel insurance, which is strongly recommended, personal expenses and souvenirs, gratuities where applicable, and the single room supplement if requested. And of course, your Indus Travel specialist will walk you through every detail before you book, so there are never any surprises. When someone books with Indus, they're not just booking a trip, they're gaining a trusted travel partner with decades of expertise in crafting extraordinary down under experiences. Our itineraries are expertly designed, curated to feature iconic highlights alongside hidden gems that most travelers never discover on their own. We offer transparent pricing with fixed departures and clear all-inclusive rates covering accommodations, transportation, sightseeing, and more. Our specialists provide expert support from your first inquiry through the day you return home. And members of the Indus Travel Club enjoy exclusive benefits, additional savings, perks, and priority access to popular departures. Let's look at our featured tours, starting with Wonders of New Zealand and Australia. A 17-day journey through two iconic destinations, New Zealand's volcanic landscapes, glowworm caves, and Maori culture, and Australia's vibrant cities and coastal icons. This is really the ultimate down-under experience, well-suited to both first-time and returning visitors. The route begins in Auckland, at the top of New Zealand's North Island, with volcanic terrain, the Waitomo glowworm caves, and Rotorua's geothermal wonders and Maori culture. From there, travelers fly to Christchurch on the South Island, then take a scenic drive through the Southern Alps to Aoraki, Mount Cook National Park. Next comes Queenstown, further south, the adventure capital of the world, alongside breathtaking fjordland scenery. Then it's a flight across the Tasman Sea to Melbourne, in southeastern Australia, for a city tour and Fitzroy Gardens, followed by a scenic train journey to Sydney, on the east coast, for the iconic Opera House, Bondi Beach, and the best of Australia's harbour city. This tour includes 14 nights of quality accommodation throughout, daily breakfast in New Zealand and Melbourne. All transfers with air-conditioned transport and a professional guide, domestic and regional flights, the Melbourne to Sydney scenic train journey, and all sightseeing entrance fees. Our next featured tour, Highlights of New Zealand and Australia, is a comprehensive 20-day journey through the very best of both countries, carefully paced for an unforgettable experience. It begins with Auckland and Rotorua, in New Zealand's North Island, for the Waitomo glowworm caves, geothermal wonders, and Maori culture. Next is Christchurch and Mount Cook on the South Island, for Southern Alps scenery and Aoraki, Mount Cook National Park. Then Queenstown and Melbourne, a flight across the Tasman for fjordland adventure, vibrant city culture, and the Great Ocean Road. And finally, Cairns and Sydney, up in Australia's tropical north and back down on the east coast, for a Great Barrier Reef cruise, the Opera House, Bondi Beach, and the Blue Mountains. This tour includes 17 nights of accommodation, daily breakfast in New Zealand, all transfers, a professional guide, and internal flights throughout. One question we hear constantly is, when's the best time to go? The honest answer is that Australia and New Zealand offer unique experiences year-round, but your travel season really can shape your journey. And remember, being in the Southern Hemisphere, their seasons are the reverse of ours. In spring, September through November, Australia is warm and comfortable across most regions, with spectacular wildflower blooms perfect for coastal and rural exploration, while New Zealand offers mild, fresh weather, gardens and parks bursting into color, and lambing season adding extra charm, ideal for spring hikes. In summer, December through February, Australia's southern beaches and cities like Sydney and Melbourne are at their best, though the tropical north around Cairns turns hot and humid with wet season downpours. New Zealand, meanwhile, enjoys its warmest, sunniest period, perfect for beaches, hiking, and water activities, though it is peak tourist season. In autumn, March through May, Australia offers mild, pleasant temperatures nationwide, excellent for touring, hiking, and wine regions, with fewer crowds than summer. New Zealand sees mild, settled weather with stunning autumn foliage, especially on the South Island, wonderful for cycling and scenic drives. And in winter, June through August, it's actually the best time for Australia's tropical north. Dry, sunny days perfect for Great Barrier Reef diving and outback exploration, while the south cools down and the Alps see a ski season. New Zealand's South Island becomes a winter sports destination for skiing and snowboarding, with dramatic landscapes and fewer crowds for touring the fjords. Let's cover a few practical preparations, so everyone feels confident before they book. First, visas and documents. Make sure your passport is valid for at least 6 months beyond your return date. Neither U.S. nor Canadian citizens need a traditional visa for tourism to Australia or New Zealand, but both countries do require an electronic travel authorization arranged before departure. For Australia, Americans apply for an ETA, subclass 601, through the Australian ETA app for a cost of about $20 Australian, typically approved instantly. Canadians apply for an e-visitor, subclass 651, online at imi.homeaffairs.gov.au, completely free of charge. For New Zealand, both citizenships apply for an NZETA, around 17 New Zealand dollars online, or about $23 through the app, plus an International Visitor Conservation and Tourism Levy of 35 New Zealand dollars, which applies to all visitors. Both countries' authorizations allow stays of up to 3 months with multiple entries, and approvals typically come through within 72 hours, though we always recommend applying well in advance. And your Indus Travels advisor can guide you through the process for your specific itinerary. On health and insurance, it's worth consulting your doctor about any recommended vaccinations. And comprehensive travel insurance is highly advised to cover medical emergencies, cancellations, and luggage. For packing, bring light, breathable layers for varied climates, along with sunscreen, a hat, swimwear, comfortable walking shoes, and a universal travel adapter. Australia and New Zealand both use Type 1 plugs. And on currency and connectivity, the local currencies are the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar. Credit cards are widely accepted, and an international roaming plan or local SIM card will keep you connected throughout your trip. And our ultimate South Pacific adventure, Wonders of New Zealand, Australia, and Fiji, combines 3 iconic destinations into one extraordinary, once-in-a-lifetime journey. It's designed to showcase the full range of the region's remarkable diversity. Australia contributes iconic cities, the Great Barrier Reef, unique wildlife, and world-famous natural wonders. New Zealand brings breathtaking fjords, mountains, glaciers, Maori culture, and adventure activities. And Fiji, a further few hours' flight northeast from either country across the South Pacific, adds turquoise lagoons, white sand beaches, overwater bungalows, and tropical island relaxation. For anyone who'd prefer to focus only on New Zealand, we also offer our dedicated New Zealand Explorer itinerary. Before we wrap up, here's what past travelers have said about their experience with us. One guest shared, "Everything was perfectly organized from beginning to end. We experienced so much without the stress of planning every detail. Indus handled everything. All we had to do was show up and enjoy." Another told us, "Australia and New Zealand had been on our bucket list for years. Indus made the trip effortless and unforgettable. We've already recommended them to our friends." And for everyone joining us tonight, we have an exclusive webinar offer. Special promotional pricing is available for today's attendees. Reserve a trip with a deposit to lock in a preferred departure, and speak with a travel expert after today's session to learn more. Our travel specialists are ready to help you choose the perfect itinerary, find the best departure dates, and secure your spot before it sells out. Your dream down under adventure is closer than you think. You can reach us at www.indus.travel, by phone at 1-866-978-2997, or by email at mail@indus.travel. You can also follow Indus Travels on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to helping you discover the very best of Australia and New Zealand. Now, let's open it up for your questions.